Thank you for your interest in web scraping and joining the web scraping community. Here are the steps that you can take to get started. So in this email, we have some resources of things that you can set up, along with information on how you can connect to the web scraping server. So the first thing you'll see is a link to this video, and then also a link to create a free account with OxyLabs. So OxyLabs is used both for concurrent connections to make the scraping faster, but it's also used to bypass bot detection and other anti-scraping things that many retail sites put in. So to create an account, you can create a trial account with OxyLabs by clicking the link. This will open up OxyLabs, and you can then log in and create a free account. Once you've created a free account, you can see you'll go to the dashboard here. This is the account that I've created. What you're going to need for the scraping is to go into this section which says Web Scraper API, and then on yours you'll want to go into Users, and once you are in the User section you can then create a user. So for me, I already have my user, but in that list you can create the user, and you see that it appends this ending to the name that you give it. So if I gave it SDC Deals, it gives that name. So this whole username is what you'll need later once you're onto the server, and to be able to configure that part. So going back here, now that we've created the OxyLabs trial, they give you 5,000 products for free, which is plenty to get started. Remember that each product can have many variants. So one product can have up to 300 or 400 variants if it's a clothing item. So 5,000 products to try is plenty for our purposes. I also recommend creating a seller board for profit and loss. So seller board will give you information on the cost. You're able to upload the cost of the items. You're able to track your shipping. It's very important to understand profitability, expenses, and things like that. And they also give you 2 months free of seller board, and it's only like $15 a month after that. So if you don't already have it, that's another thing that's highly recommended. The other portion that you'll need is your Keepa credentials. Most people who are selling on Amazon and Walmart already have a Keepa account, so we'll be updating that once we connect. So we also have our Discord community, so you can click on this link to join our Discord, which is recommended. There's updates and you can ask questions, and if there's any problems, contact me there. We also have a Facebook group that you can join. So as far as connecting, we connect to the server through remote desktop. So this one is for Windows. There's also works the same way on Mac. But essentially, like you can see here, I have Windows desktop, or the remote desktop. If I just do remote desktop connection here, it'll open up a new window. I put in rdp.sdcdeals.com and then click connect. And what this will do is prompt me for my credentials. And in the email, it'll have your username and password. These are just placeholders. But for example, if I log in with my account, it then connects to the server, and this is where you'll actually be running the actual scraping. So once it finishes logging in, you'll see the remote desktop. So this is a Windows-based server, and all the information, everything on here that you need for scraping has already been loaded onto the server. But here, if you remember, is where we want to update our OxyLabs file. So there's a file called OxyLabs on the desktop. You double click that file and you'll put in that username and password that you had here. So here is the username, and then whatever password you gave it, you would update that file, the OxyLabs file, with that information. The other one is Keepa. So there's a Keepa.txt file here as well. You would just double click that, put in your username and password for Keepa, and then you're all configured. To run the scrape, you just simply click Start Scrape, and it gives you a menu of the retail stores. These are all of the sites that we currently have, with more being added frequently. You would just select which one you want to do. So if I want to do Kohl's as an example, all I would do is click Start, and it'll start the process. So with each scrape, you have the option to paste in a URL of a search that you've done on that site, or you can do a simple search like this, where you do option 1 and just give it a an option like all I want to do is search on shoes or something like that. I just type in shoes. I tell it I would like 2 pages, and right now there's a Kohl's discount, so I'm going to do 20% discount, and this will automatically start going through and getting the getting all of the links. So it'll do a general search on shoes, it'll get all of the links, and then after that it will create a spreadsheet that I can use for sourcing shoes once it's done. The whole process is automated. There's really not anything that you need to do other than monitor to make sure that these complete successfully. So you can see that it gathered 96 different products on the 2 pages of results for that Kohl's scrape, and now it's going through and loading all of each of those products and doing the variation, getting all the information. So you can see how fast it is. Some of these products have hundreds of variations because of shoes will have different sizes, colors, width, all of that. So you can see this one shoe had 322 different variations. It was able to gather 210 valid entries from those and create those in the sheet. So when it goes through, it actually makes the web scraping sheet. All of those variations, all of the information will be on there. And what it's doing is taking each unique variation, comparing that to Amazon, and when it produces the sheet from this, it'll basically give you the sheet telling you the cost, what your cost would be, what it's selling for on Amazon, is it profitable, how many competing offers there are, what is the sales rank, all the information essentially that you need to be able to source that. So you can see already just those 2 pages created a data frame of in-stock products of nearly 5,000 products. So this process will update and log into Keepa. What this is doing through an automated process is loading in all of the UPCs that we gathered during our scrape, and this is the mechanism essentially of how it gathers the information and compares it to Amazon to complete the sheet. So you can see with just those 2 pages of search results on Kohl's for shoes, I was able to gather 4,948 unique UPCs. And what it's doing now is loading those in and finding of those, which of those have active listings on Amazon. So usually it won't be all of them, and it'll filter out any of the products or UPCs that don't have a exact match on Amazon, so that when you get the sourcing sheet, you're only seeing products that match and are exactly the ones that are on Amazon currently. So once this loads, it tells us 1,336 of those 4,948 are not on Amazon, which is fine. And then it now has the information for the ones that are on Amazon to be able to download that information. So again, I'm not touching anything here. It's going through an automated process that will take this information, make sure that it's formatted correctly. It will then download that information and create our spreadsheet. So with this fully automated process, there's nothing that you need to know other than just making sure that it completes. If there's ever a problem, you can always reach out and be happy to assist. But we're getting closer here, so what it will do is eventually log out of Keepa and complete the sheet. And now that it's logged out of Keepa, it's going to run the process that takes all the information that we've downloaded, takes the information that it gathered from Keepa, and it will go through this automated process and create a sheet that is fully formatted and filtered and everything for us to start sourcing with that. So you can see this is a pretty quick process. It's going through with the automation, and then once it says it's done, it's created this sheet here that I can find in my scrapes folder. So I simply close this window. I'll now go into my scrapes folder here, And if I sort by the top one, we can see this is the result. And I just simply double click that, and that will open in LibreOffice, or I can also copy it down and use that on my local desktop. But again, you can see in this sheet we have thousands of items now that we can source. It's showing me of these shoes that I had searched, what is the cost, what is the current price, is there any profit, what is the ROI and sales rank. And if I scroll all the way down, you can see this is a large sheet containing over 3,800 items on Amazon. And then of course I can go through and filter the sheet so that I can sort by, say, the most profitable. I can also sort by the lowest sales rank. I can sort by what is the highest ROI. I have separate videos that kind of go through the strategy of this, but you can see that each product, especially the ones that are currently profitable, has the retail link that I could click and the Amazon link to bring them up side by side. So this is basically saying I could buy this shoe for $33.60. I could sell it for $69.95. I would make $18 of profit. That's 55% ROI, and it's a good sales rank with an Adidas shoe as long as you're ungated. So now you can see you have thousands of items that you could go through and potentially find and source. So if you run into any issues getting everything set up, let me know. It should only take a few minutes, and once you have everything in place, it's pretty seamless from there. But thanks again for joining our community, and hope you stick around and make some good money selling on Amazon and Walmart.